Hello, 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 and welcome to the stream tonight. How is everybody doing? We are going to start the evening with a few rounds of Fortnite, then maybe some benchmarking, then maybe some Call of Duty, and generally just hanging out, having a good time. And if you've not yet seen the announcement I did, we are streaming today on the XMG Pro 16 Studio. It's a 16-inch gaming laptop that's pretty slim. And what's pretty cool about it that they stuffed a vapor chamber into it. So hopefully it's going to be quiet, which is what we are going to test out tonight. So yeah. We also got a couple of people from XMG in the chat, so if you have any questions regarding the hardware that I can't answer, or maybe because I'm busy trying to deliver at least some form of quality gameplay, yeah, then just ask away. These guys are super nice and are here to help you out. If you have any questions regarding their product lineup. TT, yes, it might be. So the mic, if this is your first stream from us, that you visit, the mic is up here. So it's kind of picking up mainly by my voice, but also the ambience. So you will hear the laptop a little bit. I will walk you guys over the settings that we use, and we're also, as I said earlier, we're going to do some benchmarking a little bit later in the stream, so you can get a reference to get a sense of the noise that you're hearing, because actually it's quite alright. I mean, it's audible, but I mean, we got a 4070 in there running at, what is that, 85 watts? So it's definitely very good. And I had quite some trouble testing this beforehand. There was also a Fortnite update with about 20 gigs that just dropped. So this is actually the first game I launched today on this machine. So we might have to do some optimizing, but I mean, that's what happens when you go live. At least it seems to always happen to me. So yeah, welcome everybody. I hope everybody had a good day so far. It's generally speaking the XMG Pro 16 Studio. 16-inch notebook QHD Plus display running at 240 Hz. 100% sRGB. We also got an i9 13900H in here, 4070 running with up to 140 watts, 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, and a 1TB SSD. And yeah, I actually like it a lot. And since we are also just dropped our video about the Legion Slim 7 and the Omen 16 Transcend will be ready quite soon as well. And I think this is a pretty well-balanced contender within this thin, light performance category. Well, we're off to a good start. Josue, it does not. As far as I know, there's only one panel, which is the one that we have in this machine, obviously, which is QHD+, 240 Hz, 100% sRGB. And if you guys want to have our detailed measurements, you can either, I think our German review is already live on notebookcheck.net, or I can look it up for you when it comes to contrast and brightness and all of that. But it's pretty on par with what the Legion Slim 7 is rocking. The Omen 16, for example, has the added benefit of having a mini LED option, which unfortunately we did not have in the XMG. That was a very diplomatic answer. Oh, by the way, guys, I forgot. Sorry, we have to do some housekeeping as well. Ugh. So yeah, we are going to play some games tonight. Gonna test out the laptop a little bit later. We can maybe run some Cinebench, some 3D marks. You guys let me know what you want to see. And we can also do it in different power levels. And I can pull down the mic a little bit so you can get a better impression of noise performance and all of that. And since this is, I think, XMG's first NVIDIA Studio validated notebook, we of course also have a sponsor today, which is NVIDIA and Notebooks Billiger. So you can either go to NVIDIA's website and check out some of their benefits for NVIDIA Studio validated notebooks, especially if you're in the field of content creation. Maybe you're streaming yourself, maybe you're a photographer, maybe you're a video editor. You got quite a package with a notebook that is equipped with an NVIDIA GPU. And you can head over to Notebooks Billiger if you want to get shopping, if you do not want to wait for Black Friday. So yeah, give those guys some love. They're keeping the lights on around here. And I will tell you a little bit more about the whole NVIDIA Studio thing later. Oh, I'm in random duos. When did that happen? Oopsie daisies. Oh, we'll see. And to add to what the guys from XMG just said, they also include the X-Rite Color Manager, which I think is a pretty handy tool because it allows you to set different color profiles, which is very handy, especially if you're grading video footage, for example. If you do color grading for your, I mean, I use it all the time for our YouTube videos. And then having a Rec 709 or an sRGB profile is very handy. Since it makes the job a whole lot easier. So I like those tools a lot, which further emphasizes the whole content creation focus with the studio. Joshua, I haven't done any testing with power delivery via USB-C yet, but I can keep it in mind for the full review. And maybe XMG can say something about that. Maybe they have done some internal testing with it. Oh, by the way, for everybody that's in here, please let me know if the audio levels are alright, if the stream looks good. That would be very much appreciated. Josue, is there any particular model that you are eyeing for Black Friday? Because you asked earlier. Guys, I'm still warming up. You know that you're... No, I don't want to heighten your expectations. This is what you're gonna get for the rest of the night. But I'm trying to do better. Oh, there. Wait, hold on a second. So yeah, as far as first impressions go, I like it a lot, the XMG. It's very subtle looking. I mean, you've seen the thumbnail, and maybe you have checked out our written review on the website yet. It's a very well-made notebook. It cannot quite keep up with the Legion Slim 7, but that's an all-metal build, and it's also quite a few €100 more expensive than the XMG, but it's very well made. It's very solid. There's no like insane flex on the keyboard deck. It's a very high quality machine, even though it is mostly made of plastic. But yeah, even the display lid, fairly resistant to any wobble, and it stays where it's supposed to stay. I/O is really good. The keyboard is very, very comfortable to use. Massive trackpad if you're into that sort of thing. That's a really solid and very subtle laptop, so if you take it on assignment, if you use it for work, or if you want to use it for games, it's a very good looking all-purpose machine. Just so you're right, fair enough. But I mean, 100 watts should give you a pretty good experience if you don't want to get all the frames, or if you maybe just use it for work. Then I would say 100 watts is fairly decent. Oh, damn, if I get again to go to solos. Well, let's see what we can do. Trying to stay with this guy. Okay, interesting. Hello, Davina. How are you doing tonight? Thanks for being around again. Aren't they nice? The folks from XMG taking the time after a long day at work to attend the stream to answer your questions. I think that deserves some thanks in the chat, please. Damn it. Nearly had him. Davina, I actually don't know, but I'm pretty sure they are gonna answer it in a little bit. I agree, Joshua. I think this is... I would love to have this with every stream, but maybe once we can get them off the ground with a little bit more reach and a few more people in here, maybe it will be like a regular thing. I think it's also quite interesting if you guys have, not just me, but also like the manufacturers, and then maybe talk a little bit more in depth about it. I think that could be a very nice thing for the future. I see what I can do. But I guess I have to stream very regularly to get more of you guys in here. So tell all your friends about it, maybe we can make it happen. So yeah, I hope Fortnite is okay for now. I did a little... Oops. A little questionnaire earlier today, asking you guys what games you want to see. But it was mostly like, just see some benchmarks. And just hanging out. Not quite equipped. Well, that worked. The old third party. Okay, thank you. I take that. Shared would be nice as well. I'm not saying no to this one. Oh damn, sorry XMG, I didn't realize. Of course the bottom plate is metal as well. Sorry about that. Another additional piece of information. Oh, hold on. It's just about. I'm running in the. So what is basically the balanced mode of the XMG, which gives you about what you would expect from performance mode on other similarly equipped laptops. So for example, I did some testing on the Legion Slim 7 and the XMG, and in Firmark, I think if I can recall correctly, I have to look into my notes, but you get about 110, 115 watts in balanced mode, whereas the Legion Slim 7 only did about 80. And then, yeah, obviously full performance, you get about, at least in Firmark, you get almost 140. So there's actually definitely not a whole lot of reasons to go into the performance mode and in the XMG, because you're basically getting the full performance of the 4070 with a very, very sensible level of fan noise. So, I mean, even now, I mean, you guys can probably pick it up through the microphone a little bit. So, yeah, it's very solid. So noise performance is a really strong suit for the 16 Studio. Very well tuned. Yeah, all these 16:10 displays seem to be coming to standard. I'm actually okay with both. But yeah, also I think it was even XMG who did the first 16:10 17-inch display last year in the Neo, what was it? The Neo 17. That was a pretty good display. 17-inch, 16:10, that's quite nice. Gimper, I will wait for the XMG guys to comment on that, but I think there's a max. There you go. That's so handy for me while streaming to have those guys in here, so they can answer all your questions and I can try to not lose completely everything that's happening over here. Wait, I should stick with my teammate here. He seems to be a little better than I am. Oh, that worked. Joshua, I get that, but I mean, it's just... it's really just a few pixels. At least that's what I feel like. I mean, of course, if you prefer it, I mean, go for it. I mean, these days it's getting pretty hard to find any 16:10 notebooks, so... I don't think it's that bad. The Vina definitely is. I can look up some of our gaming benchmarks, or I mean, I can link. Maybe I can link the. Wait, let me just hide somewhere, and I will link our written German review in the chat, so you guys can get an idea of our gaming benchmarks that we have done so far. That's right. I just did. I'm just editing the review for the Studio Laptop 2. And what was it? I think it's 2400 by 1600. And there was a lot of weird stuff going on in games, with sometimes picking up 2 displays and all of that stuff. It was pretty weird. Oh, that worked. Oh, well, you guys haven't seen that. I was distracted by reading chat, so I'm totally not at fault here. Whoops. Maybe I should stick with playing duos. Might be safer. But yeah, I would actually love to have somebody to stream with. But I have to look into it. I just have to find a way to make the whole stream setup that I have here a little bit more, a little bit easier to manage. Because setting it up, it's... Oops. Where the... Stop shooting at me, please. Probably shouldn't have picked that fight, but I mean... Yes, Joe, so exactly. And I don't have a dedicated streaming setup, so I always have to use this particular desk that I also use to edit and film and everything. So I transitioned, so with the first stream I did, I think 2 weeks ago or something, I transitioned to using my old desktop as my streaming PC, so at least the whole, like the back end, so to say, that's always the same, but cameras, lights, thank you, my friend, and all of that, and then of course the setting with the new laptop, that's always taking quite some time. And it's a little bit finicky, the setup I'm using with the webcam, and I only use this Camlink 4K from Elgato to take the HDMI signal. I think that's not quite ideal, so I'm kind of looking into a proper capture card to make it a little easier for me to set up the streams. But one step at a time. I hope you guys are fine with things being sometimes a little more improvised. But yeah. Divina, that's actually, that was the first RTX 4000 notebook review I did when they launched. XMG sent us, I can't recall if it was a pre-production unit or if it was already a final unit, but yeah, they hooked us up with a Neo 16 with a 4090 and the Oasis. So it was pretty much the best case scenario of what you could expect from that particular GPU. So it was a great first test. Who's sniping? Oh, there you are. Oh, that worked. Damn it. Well, if he puts that off. Let's see. Well, he tried. And the Neo 16 also has a pretty sweet mechanical keyboard. So yeah, that was a very fun one to review. Exactly, and because it was water cooled, it was basically the best you could possibly imagine. And I think it's still pretty high up in our database when it comes to mobile RTX 4090s. So yeah, that's been a fun one. And I used it quite a bit after we did our initial review for our videos. And it was also a great workstation. I mean, it's quite good when it comes to I/O. The display it's pretty similar to this one. So it's QHD Plus, if I recall correctly. Also 240 Hertz. So yeah, XMG, if you're still in here, how about some displays with wider color gamut? That would be nice for the creator crowd. If I may voice something. Again, folks, this stream is sponsored by Notebooks Billiger. And I linked the XMG Pro 16 Studio in the description below if you want to check it out and want to check prices for today and how much this puppy will cost you if you want to get it for yourself. And of course NVIDIA with their studio validation program, because this is actually XMG's first studio validated notebook. Yeah, it's a great little content creation and gaming machine. And I also linked to NVIDIA's website where you can learn more about their studio validation program. And we also did quite a few videos about it already on the channel, so you can check out those as well. All right, I'm on my own now. Let's see how that goes. And I would say we do like 1 or 2 additional rounds and then we can try doing some benchmarks. I hope it will work. The whole transitioning between stuff was a little bit finicky when I tested for the stream. So I hope we will not run into any problems. I told you we're gonna do it more regularly. How are you doing, Evercloud? How was your day so far? And we also did this little game in the last stream where I asked you guys what would be your ideal notebook, like within reasons. And maybe you could describe it for the folks from XMG. Maybe it will give them some insight. What you would like to see in the future? Where is this guy? God damn it! Oh, there he is. Well, we're still in the warming up phase, so. Joshua, yes, that's definitely a question for the XMG guys. I don't know. Evercloud, where have you been from again? With XMG, it's the thing that they only sell in Europe for now, in select countries, obviously in Germany. But yeah, they're mostly over here. I think you've told me before, but I'm afraid I cannot really recall where you're from, so sorry about that. Ah, right, I remember that that discussion. Gotcha. Well, I don't know, but we've talked about it. Maybe XMG can say something about it, why it's difficult to sell in Switzerland. Kowalski, have you seen our video? We just did a review about the Slim 5 14, and I liked it a lot, and especially, that's a pretty good price you just posted. Are they on sale right now? I think what you should keep in mind for the Slim 5 is that it's relatively big for a 14-incher. It's still a 14-incher, so it's still compact, but like compared to the Razer Blade or the ROG G14, it's relatively big. And because of the OLED, you do not get G-Sync or any form of what's it called, FreeSync or anything. I think if you're cool with those two things, then it's a pretty awesome machine. I liked it a lot. And it's also limited to a 4060. And again, if that's fine for you, then I liked it a lot. I had fun with it. Yeah, I also don't get it, Kowalski. Check it out. It's one of the latest videos. I think I posted it 3 weeks ago or something. So feel free to check it out. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to come back and ask away. And we also have, if you want to get a little bit more detail, we have the written reviews on the website as well, and they are linked in the video description. Scared. Alright guys, here goes nothing. I shouldn't have won that, but I did, and I'm not gonna complain about it. I really need a better assault rifle. That should do fine. Kowalski, what do you mean bypass the 4060? Do you mean in terms of G-Sync and all of that? Of course, you can do it with an external monitor, that's not a problem. But if you want it in the internal display, then you're out of luck. Yeah, let's see what CES has in store early next year. And of course, I'm gonna go there, so if you want to get your coverage, you know where to get it. I mean, amongst other channels, but I trust you guys that you watch our stuff. No, it's all very mysterious. I've got something really interesting that I'm gonna tease you guys with now, and I'm only gonna tell you about it at the end of the stream because I need to keep your attention. But apart from that, so I'm just about done with editing the Surface Laptop 2 review. So that's gonna come soon. Then I have another case study NVIDIA Studio laptop coming with that we did in again in collaboration with NVIDIA, which is going to be super interesting because we did it with one of my very good friends who is a full-time CGI artist, and we did this experiment where I asked him to do some of his work on a laptop, and he's usually working on desktops with 4090s and 3090s and all of that. So that's a pretty fun video. That's also almost done. Then we have the MSI Stealth 14 Studio. That's coming up. That's already... I filmed it already, I just have to edit it. Just have to edit it. And what else? We have the MSI Radar GE68 and Radar 78. And the 78 is like... it's the proper monster with an i9 13980HX and an RTX 4090. And the GE68HX is a little bit more reasonable with a 4070 and an i9, again, 13980HX. What else? Oh, we're getting a super interesting Lenovo Yoga that comes with the 7840U and I think an OLED. But that's not really a gaming laptop. It's a very good looking lifestyle laptop. All right, what else? Can't remember what else I'm testing right now. I think about it, maybe. Okay. Oh yeah, and this NVIDIA video is about the Razer Blade 18 in this Mercury edition, which looks very, very good. I've actually never dealt with laptop coolers. But so is it temperature-wise that that you're concerned with, or is it because of heat? Because I could imagine those things will introduce some noise as well. Oh, and by the way, while I have you guys all in here, do any of you have any suggestions when it comes to external GPU enclosures? Is there something you know about, or maybe something you have used yourself? Because I actually need one for that mysterious device I've teased you about. Yeah, I think with how they work, they are trying to push air in where there is air coming in from the fans anyways. So I cannot see how useful this is going to be. Oof, nearly got me. Hold on guys, I need to eat some pizza. Josue, it's sorry, I'm totally butchering your name probably. It's not really it's not gonna be a practical video, that much I can say. But I just want to try it. I mean, again, for the video. This is too easy. This game is gonna tease me with some bots or something. And then there's gonna be a real player who just like completely destroys me in an instant. Yeah, I was just gonna call you Maestro, if that's fine. That's what I found when I did research. So, like the ones from Razer or whatever, they are all still Thunderbolt free. Damn it! I nearly had him. God. I mean, as Joshua said, it's not really worth it to have an eGPU on your laptop because, like, performance cost-wise, I think it just doesn't make sense. But it's just, I just want to try it because it will be so ridiculous for what I have in mind. So what I did, I requested from one of our partners. There is this Aorus. What's it called? Aorus gaming box, and they have a desktop 4090 that's water cooled in there, and I think it's like 2.5K, which is like pretty crazy. But again, it's a 4090 and it's a desktop one. So I am waiting to hear back from them. But if they're gonna send me it, then it's gonna be a really crazy video. Evercloud, yeah, probably. I mean, that's always on the table when I'm running out of laptops to review, which seems like it's not gonna happen anytime soon. But yeah, I would love to do like a top 5, I don't know, 4090 gaming laptops, top 5, 14 inches or whatever. But then again, I would have to ask for samples again, and then I have to shoot B-roll for 5 laptops, which will be pretty hectic. So yeah, but it's definitely something that I have in mind when it's quiet. So when we do not have any releases and all of that. But manufacturers are just like this with laptops. So they're launching laptops left and right. And we are still in this phase where we are trying to cover almost everything on the channel. So we do not I mean, obviously we are looking into what gets views, because that's what we have to do. But in between, I also like to cover laptops that are probably not covered by the bigger channels, because they are maybe targeting a more of a niche audience. But I still want to get those guys some attention. So I rather focus on that now and then do these top 5 thingies when I maybe have another editor who might help me out in the future, because that's something we have in mind, or that I have in mind, because that would make it a little easier and would give me time to do those projects. But yeah, if you have anything that you want to see, you can always let me know. I'm always interested in your suggestions. Thank you. It might be that we see more new enclosures when Thunderbolt 5 is more widely adopted, because as XMG just said, it seems like the PCI bandwidth is the same for TB3 and TB4. And I think Thunderbolt 5 increased the bandwidth quite considerably. So maybe that's why manufacturers are holding out. That's how you do it. That should have been easy. Well, we're getting there. In the last stream, my goal for the night was to get in the top 10, and I think we did it. I think last game was 8 or something. Let's see if we can do better today. XMG, what is a Thunderbolt 4? Is it 40 gigabits, if I recall correctly? All right, that's interesting. Yeah, it's gonna take some time. Might have to write it really up. Interesting. So XMG, you probably can't talk about it, what's happening in January, but it sounds like next year most laptops will still be Thunderbolt 4. Gotcha. Evercloud, I've already been to gym today before starting the stream, so I'm good. You do you. You do your leg day. I'm already done for today. But thanks for checking in. See you next time. But guys, let me know what you think about it. So I would like to see more notebooks in this form factor, like the XMG Pro 16 Studio, with higher end options than the 4070, which I know is technically quite difficult and probably won't sell as well because it's a lot more expensive than the 4070 versions. But what would you say? Is that something that you would be interested in, like having a sleek, slim notebook with a 4080 that maybe is, I don't know, limited to 120 or 100 watts. I think that would be quite an interesting machine, especially when you use it for work, where you need a little bit more VRAM. I think that would be something that's very interesting. But yeah, I know it would probably be a few hundos more, so I would love to know what you think about it. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to talk about the added performance, but from what I have been told, it's quite... So it requires different motherboard layouts. And then obviously cooling is a factor as well. So I don't know how well 4080 laptops sell, because there aren't actually that many. Especially in this form factor, which is quite sad. I would love to see more of those. Probably gonna regret pushing this guy. Whew. That was close. What are the rumors for the updated 4080 Super? Is there anything... has there been shared anything? What they are expecting when it comes to VRAM and all of that? Interesting. So, okay, wait, let me... So from a sales perspective, it would actually make sense to do like a slim 4080 laptop. So people would actually buy it. Is that what I can take away from what you just said? All right, got it. Some healing would be appreciated. Ooh, and that. Yeah, it might be a while before we see new notebook GPUs, if they launch desktop first. Alright, I see. So it's not like a general 4080, 4090 thing, but it's more like having unlocked 4090, 4080 performance without the noise levels you would get from other manufacturers without the water cooling. Which is so neat. Sorry guys, I have to do some honest love for the Oasis. It works so well. And again, having that 4090 performance in a laptop with noise levels you probably won't get from most desktops, it's pretty insane. They did such a good job with that. And I'm not saying this because they are watching. Trust me. Well, he didn't expect me to have that gun, but I do. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess the target group is pretty limited. I mean, it would have probably be something like the Legion 9i. That's very over-engineered. And I mean, it's not like the Neos are super bulky. They're still quite portable. So I guess that's fine. Yeah, Divina, I get it. It's kind of what they do. I'm pretty sure they're glad to hear that. They should have hooked us up with any discount codes or something to make it worth your while watching this. Like apart from pure entertainment, infotainment. Is this infotainment what we're doing or entertainment? I'm not quite sure. Chiziba, but that's exactly so. They are as expensive because they're selling you more than just specs. So what you get is this extra bit of style, maybe even lifestyle and build quality. So that's why you have to pay a little bit more. And if you don't want to pay for it, there are other options. I think Evercloud already left, but maybe he will see it later. Or I will tell him in the next stream. Because last time he said it's pretty complicated for him to order notebooks. Oh. Damn! He got me good. Yeah, Maestro, I'm sure. I enjoy playing Fortnite so much, but I'm not playing that much, and I'm not very good at it. In my defense, I'm also trying to keep ahead of chat and everything. And yeah. Alright, after the next round, we can go into some benchmarking, and I will do some, I don't know, Furmark would be interesting, I guess, to see how it behaves, and I can angle the mic a little bit more to the laptop. And then you can get the difference between performance and balanced mode. Well, I mean, if you guys would prefer just to hang out and play video games, that's fine for me as well. And yeah, we can do some 3D marks. We can do Cinebench. Just let me know what you want to see. XMG, these have been the 120 Hz 4K panels, right? I remember. I think I had the Pro 17 in my hands. Those were pretty nice. But especially in the, I think, in the Pro 16 Studio, it would have made a lot of sense. Especially with the color manager to have the option to limit colors as well, which is always very handy to have that option when you're working with video files and video editing and all of that. But then when you're doing anything photography related, it is... it's always nice if you don't use an external monitor to have that wider color gamut. Makes it a little bit easier to work in professional environments. But I also get when it comes to displays and all of that, when supply is limited. And I guess with so many people using laptops with external displays, it's not really a deal breaker unless you're looking for something for specifically photography or something along those lines. Whew. Close encounters. Yeah, Divina sounds like, is your machine from last year where we had these like super fast 1080p panels, but nothing in between? I think 2023 was the first year where QHD was getting the wide scale adoption that it deserves, because it is really a sweet spot. I think if I would look for a personal machine, it would probably be either 4K 120 Damn! Okay, let's do one more, and then if you guys want, we can go into benchmarks. Sorry. But bear with me. Alright, you told me. I might have to make notes soon so that I can remember what you guys are rocking when it comes to your laptops, so I don't have to ask again and again and again. Yes, that makes sense, XMG. I can imagine that it's quite difficult for not a big major brand to score some really nice panels. I mean, it's not like the XMG has a bad panel. It's just really the only thing that I would wish for is wider color gamuts. But again, it's not a deal breaker. It's just something that would be on my wish list. I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to use a Neo 17 this year. Only the colleagues did it, and I didn't get it for a YouTube video. Because I liked that one a lot last year. You did such a good job with the Neo 17. Such a great machine. Yeah, Divina, you might be right, because the only 16:9 display I have used regularly in the past few months was from the ROG Scar 17, which is still in the old chassis. For reasons, I don't know. Probably because it has an AMD CPU and doesn't deserve the new stuff. And it's 17-inch, obviously, so you might be right. Maybe that's why I am not bothered by it too much. But I also, like I've said before, the MSI Radar GE78 I'm reviewing and testing right now has a 17-inch 16:10, and also the Neo 17 I just talked about also has a 17-inch 240Hz 16:10 display, and this is a really nice display. And I have to admit, it being 16:10 is actually quite nice. I think DCI Pre3 is just a thing that everybody uses because Apple just pushed for it. But in the industry I'm working, so I come from doing high-end post-production in photography. So I was doing adverts and fashion editorials and all of that, purely on the post-production side. And everything was either Adobe RGB or ECI RGB. So if you ask me, having a proper Adobe RGB coverage for a creator or for a professional is much more important than DCI-P3, because as you said, I do not know one person that's actually actively using DCI-P3. I think that's just it's just some marketing thing Apple started and then just everybody picked it up. But yeah, from my like work environment where there are a lot of photographers and filmmakers, it's for photography it's Adobe RGB that's much more important, because all the major cameras are shooting more or less in Adobe RGB. So when you're talking about medium format and some higher end full frame cameras and all of that, and then video is fairly complex, but oops, don't interrupt me if I'm talking about something important. The problem with video is, for example, that's with Resolve, which is what we use for our videos. Let me just hide somewhere, then it's easier to talk about it. With Resolve, it can't do color management in its graphical user interface, so you have to limit colors with the display. So you can either use a hardware calibrated monitor who has Rec 709 or sRGB profiles, or if your laptop display has these handy little profiles like you have with the X-Rite Color Manager, then you can use that as well, and you get it. It's much easier to create video footage if you have like log files, like these very flat, almost just gray files. So having this sRGB profile is very important. So that's why the XMG Pro 16 Studio is actually very good for video editing, because it just covers sRGB. So that's, I mean, that's like always pick your poison and all of that. Just as a little discourse when it comes to content creation stuff. I hate this gun so much. I don't know why I always pick it up. Alright, I have some reading to do. Wait. So... Davina, so the scar with the X3D, I have the non-X3D scar, and it's already pretty good. But the X3D just like demolishes everything. Almost everything. As you said, it depends on the game. But it's mostly, it's at the very top of our gaming rating right now. P3 is not relevant for the print industry example, that's right. I actually notice it when it's not properly calibrated, then your icons, for example, the Windows button, and if I see, for example, the Photoshop or the InDesign buttons, which are much more saturated on wider color gamut displays. So we should do a test. Invite me to Leipzig and we do a test. Yeah, you definitely push the X-Rite tool a lot more. It's really very handy. And it's nothing, so even, for example, the Razer blades are doing this. They have these really nice displays, for example, the Blade 16 with its mini LED display, which also has its own challenges when it comes to content creation and color grading and this whole thing. But they don't have profiles. So if you want to do color grading for video on this display, which doesn't have any factory profiles, and it's actually not that easy to do your own sRGB profile, because then you would get into profiling and not calibrating, which is like a whole different level of stuff. So, yeah. Who's really good at this is Lenovo, because they also include the X-Rite Color Manager in some of their machines. And ASUS has been killing it this year with their displays and the software for it. Because they give you very, very fine control what colors you want to display and how you want to limit your colors on your display. As far as I know, most games are mastered still for sRGB. So you might get some additional saturation with wider color displays. Actually, might be alright to do like a separate thing about it, but I don't know if too many people would be interested in it, because it is very niche, and for most people it will probably not be as important. So if you just get wider color gamuts, then you just get a little bit more saturation and colors pop a little more. So it might be like just on a subjective level that it looks better. Or oversaturated, depending on what you personally prefer. I hope they will not invite me to their factory to test that out. That would be very embarrassing if I if I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Even though I would be fairly confident that I would be able to, but oh god, I don't know if I would be. I guess it really depends on the application. But yeah, maybe. Yeah, color management it's not a fun topic, but very important if you work in this field. I cannot recall how many times I had this with clients who like, yeah, the colors look weird, and then you're like, what display you're watching it on, and they've been like, yeah, I'm watching it on my phone, and it's like, okay, and I'm watching it on my hardware calibrated monitor, so you should trust me, which is always a little bit of a problem for clients. But yeah, that's the fun when you work in the creative industry. All right, where's everybody hiding? I don't want to get clapped right away when I see somebody. I think like you're... Ah, god damn it. Where did this guy go? That's the next thing, yeah. As you just said, color management is a very, very, very complex topic. Of course he was hiding. Damn it! Too many, Flodo. Too many. I would love to say I'm not playing my best today, but actually I'm usually not a lot better than today. I have my moments, but it seems like today is not one of those days. But let's see, maybe I can improve a little bit more. Okay, I forgot. We actually wanted to get into benchmarks, but let's just do another 15 minutes of Fortnite. And then I usually do about 2 hours of streaming. So we have half an hour to go over benchmarks and talk a little bit more about the XMG Pro 16 Studio and what it can do, especially when it comes to noise performance, because I think that's pretty interesting for this one. It's pretty heavy compared to the competition, but that's because of the vapor chamber. But it's a compromise that I would be more than willing to take. If it's like reduced noise, temperatures, and higher power levels, then I'm more than willing to pack a little bit more. Yeah, just something that you have to keep in mind. Yeah, usually having high quality wide color gamut monitors and proper hardware calibration, good uniformity, response times and higher refresh rates are not very high on their to-do list. I feel like I'm playing against 12 and 13-year-olds all the time. It's just they have like these quick little hands and much more much snappier reflexes. But I played CS2 with a couple of mates for the past few days, and it just gets so frustrating. I mean, I feel like you have to train playing Counter-Strike, and that's just not something I'm willing to do. I want games to be enjoyable, and my Counter-Strike experiences have not been very enjoyable. Well, Davina, so I really like our community. But whenever we post something about slim high-performance laptop, everybody is complaining that they are like too slim, too thin for the performance they're packing, they're getting too loud and blah blah blah. And then if we do something about the thick and heavy laptop that's like properly cooled but weighs, I don't know, take the Alienware M18 for example or something like this, then everybody complains that it's just too big, too heavy and all of that. So it's very hard to please customers these days. So I'm really feeling with the guys at XMG and especially like their product specialists that have to come up with conceptualizing gaming notebooks and then trying to please everybody, but being aware that it will always be a compromise. So I salute these guys trying to make it work, trying to please everybody, even though it's not possible. All right, we got a shotgun and a dream. Let's make it work. Shall I do it up or should I go after that guy? How do I get down there? There we go. Where was he? This way, right? I think phones in general, at least if you are shopping within a certain price range, are actually pretty well calibrated from the factory. If you turn off everything like these like any what's it called? Well, that was pretty good. Sometimes I can surprise myself. Well, actually, you have to properly calibrate every display tag. So OLEDs can be as accurate as IPS, and IPS can be as accurate as OLEDs, which kind of makes sense. Yeah, you know what I'm getting at. So if you want to have accurate colors, chill. Yeah, no, I'm not getting in there, my friend. So I just did a talk at a trade thing for a manufacturer for for screens, for high-end screens that I'm using, BenQ. And there were a few people coming up to me being like, so I bought like a high-end monitor, but I'm still not getting accurate colors. And then you would have to calibrate it properly. Damn it! You still have to calibrate screens properly, even if it's good screens. That's what I'm getting at. Sorry for the rambling. Does that make sense? But like there was a lot of stuff happening for the past few years. So nowadays, most laptops also from a certain price range on upwards are very well calibrated from the factory. Huh, that's interesting. I thought they added the wider color gamuts way before that. Interesting. So the iPhone 13 was the first one to get full DCI-P3. Yeah, exactly, Davina. So most people will probably just rely on the factory calibration or just don't care about it at all. Yes, Flodo, I have to agree. The average laptop screens have gotten so good. I mean, even this screen, it's just like, that's basically, I feel like for high, like from mid-tier to higher end performance options, like having a QHD Plus screen refreshing at 240 Hertz, having pretty solid brightness levels and great contrast. I mean, that's just what you can get easily without paying like heaps of money. So when I started my whole retouching thing, I was looking into a notebook and I needed, because I was traveling a lot, I needed 17-inch full Adobe RGB coverage, and it was almost impossible to find anything. So I think it was 2016 or 2017, and I ended up buying a Razer Blade 17 Pro, I think it was called, and it cost me like 4,500 euros. So yeah, just having started a business, even if it was like a freelancing business, and then having to shell out 4,500 euros, yeah, it was quite a steep investment, but it's still going. Somebody in my family is still using it. Alright, less reading the chat and getting more guns. Sorry guys, we're on a mission here. Ah, shit. Yeah, that just happened. Well, it's glad we have some AI here. I shouldn't have survived this. Flodo, so I just told my girlfriend the other day that I was so proud when I turned 14 that I got a CRT with not like these how's it called? Like with a flat front glass. So it was not like rounded, so it was flat. And I was so proud of it because I was the only one amongst my friends who had this. And I think it was 1024 by what was a 768, I think it was in terms of resolution. Yeah, that was wild. That thing was really wild. Is XMP actually a thing, or is it like set in the BIOS or via the firmware on laptops? I never looked into that. I should not have pushed this. Well, that wasn't too bad, wasn't it? Just have to survive this guy. Damn it! Alright, top 10, last game. Ish. I can't even remember what refresh rate it was, but I had no clue about all of that back in the day. I see. Oh yeah, 1024. What did I say? Did I say 1024? I can't remember. But yeah. Damn, those were the times. I can remember we having a LAN with some friends, and I actually had to borrow RAM from a friend because I wasn't able to run the game we wanted to play with the memory I had in my machine. So he had to sacrifice some performance to get me up to speed. All right, that's interesting. I can't even like, I have no idea. So is it not comparable to like modern fast displays? XMG? Are we actually talking to Tom? If I am I allowed to say this? But it's so weird to say XMG all the time. I can't even remember the name. It was so long ago. All right, guys, everybody be very careful because I want to send I want XMG to send us review samples in the future. So everybody just say CRTs are awesome, TFTs are just very bad, and we all want those behemoths back on our desks, but still having the same size we have today. So ideally a 32-inch CRT would be fine. So you guys know what to do. Ah, sweet. Yeah, sorry for keeping you at work or having to work after hours. But we are still in the process to determine which times work best for the streams. So I'm afraid, yeah, you have to bear with us tonight. But thank you so much for coming out, or for hanging out with us and answering all these questions. That's interesting. I did not know that. See, we learned something. Oh. Hero's probably AFK. I feel very sorry about that. Alrighty. So, I think I've said it quite a few times in our reviews. I just love OLEDs. That's just my... I don't know. I just love how it looks. I love it for work. It's just... For me, nothing comes close. So my ideal laptop would always be an OLED with at least 120 Hertz and at least QHD resolution, or I mean 4K would be even better. That would be my perfect panel. So actually, Tom, I was just about to say XMG again. If you would be able to decide what kind of panel you can put into, let's say, a Pro Studio or even like the next generation of the Neos, would you rather have an OLED option or a mini LED option? Like, it doesn't have to be company policy or whatever, just what you personally, as a product specialist, would prefer to see. Like, what would be your ideal display in the XMG Pro 16 Studio, if you could pick and choose from anything? I would be very curious to know. Take that. But micro LED, wouldn't that be quite close to mini LED? I mean, I guess brightness would be much higher. Yes, you heard it, guys. Do what he says. Oh, there we go. I very much like to read that. And if you ever plan to use mini LEDs, definitely make sure to implement something that you can make them behave like a traditional backlighting, because with the laptops that can't do that, doing anything of reliably color correction on them is almost impossible. Right, yeah. But OLED also doesn't seem to be ideal for power draw, and I think it's pretty hard to sell from a marketing standpoint. If you have, what's the brightest OLED you can get? 350, 400 nits, and then on the other side you have mini LEDs that do like 500 to 600. So I can imagine that putting that on a spec sheet for a maybe not that knowledgeable audience might be a challenge. But I like to read that. I prefer OLEDs. You had one OLED option, right? I think there was one of your models that had an OLED option. Might have been last year though. I think there was a 4K OLED option for one of the Pro models, if I recall correctly. Yeah, but I think OLEDs can be a lot brighter, but then you would probably reduce the lifespan quite significantly, I could imagine. Yes, exactly, Tom. So ASUS has an option for that. And for example, Lenovo is doing this on the Yoga Pros. So in SDR, the mini LEDs behave like one solid, how do you want to call it? Like one solid pane of backlight, which makes color correction much more reliable. And in the ASUS ROG models that come with mini LEDs, you can toggle it yourself, how you want it to behave. And it's something that's often overlooked because, again, marketing focuses on color gamuts and all of that stuff, but yeah. Mini LEDs can be problematic. But Kirill, is it really... Do you get problems with... Oops, behind me. Lasered. Damn it. That gives me some time to read up. Yeah, Kira, but is this something that you experienced yourself? Because I feel like this is a topic that it's... I don't want to be insensitive, so if you have problems with OLEDs and PWM, just let me know, because I would love to know about it. But I feel like this is something that's very overblown without being that much of a real problem, but you guys correct me if I'm wrong here. Oh, I see, right. Of course, yeah, if you have a lot of bright content on the screen, so will it increase power draw. I get that. Divina, yes, exactly. That's how they behave, but in some machines you can turn that off. So they behave just like a traditional backlight. Yes, Davina, we test for PWM too, and we always note it in our... I always mention it in the reviews. And we always test for it in the written reviews as well. Because some people are very, very interested in that. But yeah, I would really like to know how much of a problem it really is, because it doesn't... So I have no problem with it. It doesn't matter how long I'm sitting in front of, I don't know, OLED equipped notebooks, and I'm spending a lot of hours in front of notebooks. Tom, what do you mean? Like how big the difference is between the flickering? That's interesting. That's something that affects the effect it has on people more sensitive towards it. Then I will talk to the team. Maybe we can... I mean, we show the screenshots from our measurements. So I guess you would be able to judge the amplitudes. I mean, I noticed the only time I notice PWM is actually when filming, because then sometimes you get these black bars on the screens when I'm filming the laptops. So I always have to adjust for that, which happens much more often with with OLEDs and mini LEDs, because you get PWM in those, and then kind of interacts with the frame rate of the video footage we're recording. So that's the only time I really notice PWM. But it really doesn't affect me personally. But if you guys are affected, please let me know, and especially how it affects you. I would really like to know. Please, guys, don't fight me yet. Don't have a gun. Guess that works. Damn, I shouldn't have pushed this. Ah, I see. Yeah, don't get any ideas, guys. Looking at PWM stuff just to see other stuff. I don't want to advocate for that kind of stuff. All right, one more round, and then we run some benchmarks. And then I have to get some food. But yeah, so maybe just to get back to the laptop a little bit. The chassis is like almost cool to the touch, especially in the area where the battery is. Like the palm rest area is ambient, of course. It's a little bit warmer closer to the display, like on the above the keyboard, but the keyboard is very comfortable. And I mean, we've been gaming for almost 2 hours, so that's a good thing. And what they also did, like the Airstream is not directly directed at your mouse hand, which is always also quite nice. So very comfortable machine to use for even longer gaming sessions. So not a heat problem. Everything's fine and dandy with this one. And I mean, I haven't told you anything about settings yet, but we are at mostly high settings. Fortnite can be very demanding, depending on the settings. But this is a very great experience. Keyboard feels good. Lots of travel, great tactility. So yeah. And as always, we will have a full video review coming up very soon. And the written review in German, I think, is already live on the website if you want to get some more info and if you can't wait until the video goes live. Or if you can't speak German, then I guess that's a pretty good reason also to wait for the video. And of course, I would want you to wait for the video or watch the video as well. Reasons. Tom, I think I was talking about this when you just asked it. No, I like it a lot. I'm not like a huge keyboard aficionado, so I get used to stuff really quickly unless it's really, really bad. This definitely isn't that. I think it's a great keyboard. I think for me, like, what's it called? When it bottoms out, I think is the correct term. It could be a little stiffer, but that might also be because of the deck, the keyboard deck is plastic, so maybe it's just that. And maybe it's just because it differs slightly from what I'm used to. But I could see myself getting used to this one like super quickly. Also typing, I think I typed 1 or 2 scripts on this one. Really comfortable, the layout works for me. But again, I'm getting used to keyboards really quickly, so. And Fortnite is very smooth. That is a very interesting fact, Divina. Thank you for sharing with the crew. I did not know that. And now everybody's going back to shoot film. Or like some productions are going back. Have you guys seen the creator yet? Because it made some splash. Because it was shot on a relatively inexpensive Sony cinema camera. And they did it guerrilla style, which I think was a very interesting take on doing such a big movie. Really, I thought it was getting quite good reviews. I liked it a lot, but I'm also a sci-fi nerd, and I like, how would you say? I'm very easy to entertain, especially if it's sci-fi. So I'm not the best critic when it comes to that, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't the best movie ever made, but it was a very solid one. Alright, I have to concentrate, because we are doing top 10 now. Yeah, if you're into sci-fi, then you will probably enjoy the creator. It's like, if you, Tom, if you liked District 9, for example, or Elysium, if that's your vibe, then you will, I would say then you will enjoy the creator as well. It's very beautiful, like the way they did the sci-fi bits. It's very well made, with a very nice sense of scale and all of that. The visuals are stunning, even though they shot it on a cheap camera, like cheap for a movie. Oof. Yes, it was shot on the Sony FX3. Which I want to try out desperately for some of our projects. So we are using a Blackmagic, which is great for our studio productions. But I would love to have something that we could take on like previous sessions. And as I said, I'm going to CES in January, and I really do not want to do this with the Blackmagic, because you got no autofocus, you got no stabilization and all of that. What? Okay. That was a very swift end to my top 10 plans. Damn it! Nice. That sounds good, Tom. When are you going back to Taipei, and what are you working on when you go back to Taiwan? Is there anything you can share? Alright guys, for those that are in there, so I will probably stream for another 10 to 15 minutes and then we will wrap it up. Should we do some benchmarks or should we try another round of Fortnite? It's your time to get involved. You can decide over the content. Let me know. I mean, obviously we will have benchmarks in the full video and our usual noise samples. But if you want to see something now when it comes to temperatures and power levels and all of that, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll just do 1 or 2 more rounds of Fortnite. Let me know. I'll give you 20 more seconds to decide. Okay. Okay, we got benchmarks. I see. All right. One Fortnite, 2 benchmarks, so we are doing benchmarks. And I hope I do not mess up the stream. And if I do, then it's Divina's and Vino's fault. Not mine, definitely not mine. Alrighty. Right, let's see. So let's start with Cinebench. I just put Cinebench on for 10 minutes and then after a few minutes we can switch to performance mode. And I put everything on the screen so you guys can see it. Right, there you go. I don't know. When are benchmarks not boring and when are benchmarks boring? I don't know. You have to tell me. Quick benchies. Yeah, we're doing very quick benchies. So you guys get an idea. So this is still balanced mode, which I think is called entertainment mode on the XMGs. I have this machine in German, so I just can't read it. I'm kind of scared to go into quiet mode, Tom, because I feel like in your standard setting, it's also doing something to the NVIDIA GPU because it puts it in what's it called? This NVIDIA battery safe thing. And I had this problem when I set up the stream. Whenever I do something with the GPU, it messes up the capture card. So I'm kind of scared to do it. Maybe that will be the last thing I do. Yes, I mean, that's what it's for, like typing and all of that, Davina. That totally makes sense. So yeah, we're at 95 degrees and pretty steady 60 watts in entertainment mode. And if we go, oops, this one, into performance, you should be able to pick up the quite substantial, close that, increase in fan noise. Yes, that's why I would of course love to show quiet, balanced, and performance, but I do not want to mess up the stream right now. So yeah, it seems like from a CPU performance standpoint, it would not really matter if you are in balanced or in performance mode, but I guess GPU might be a little bit of a difference, but then again, as soon as you use both, yeah, Nico is quite active in our reviews, and I think he's one of those people that will never be satisfied with anything. So yeah, I have seen some comments from him, and I'm amazed how emotionally invested people can be when it's about laptop. I mean, I love tech, and I love everything that we're doing, but he's like, constructive criticism is not really his thing. But what did he say? Hi there. So I'm trying to be quiet, and I'm going back from performance mode to entertainment, and you can see the difference in fan noise, or can hear it more. So yeah, that's pretty substantial. And let's do some quick single runs so we can see the difference in when it comes to points. Let's just give it a few seconds to cool down a little bit. For the GPU, Tom, right? Yeah, right. Okay, I see. But realistically, in games, even in performance mode, you will not see that too often. Like, there are just very few games that really go beyond 110 to 120 watts. And then the performance difference in when it comes to actual frames will only be marginal. So you guys did a great job with the balanced mode for this one. Right. I should just let you type it before saying it out loud. No, I rather have like a very good balanced mode that does like 100 watts and all of that, and trying to find the perfect compromise between fan noise and power levels. And if I just really need that extra bit of performance, for example, if I render out a video or if I'm playing with headphones and just need every last bit of performance for my game, then having like this full-on performance mode. But you guys did really good with the studio. Yeah, that's true. At least for the 4050, like I would say mostly for the 4060 and 4070. Oh yeah, soft surfaces and gaming laptops that are supposed to do something are not a very good idea. All right, that was entertainment mode, and let's do that again in performance. Again, as you can hear, it's going. So yeah, I will probably just leave it in entertainment all the time because that mode is really so good. And I feel like somebody just asked me if I want to play CS. I was like, nope. And again, also take these results with a little grain of salt because there's some stuff happening in the background. And I didn't turn off anything, everything. So just keep that in mind. There might be some variance. If you want to get the lab results when it comes to our performance testing, you better check out our written review. All right, that was Cinebench. I think Fermark might be interesting because of the power levels for the GPU, so we can do that for a little bit. And then maybe some 3D marks, and then that should be it for tonight. So let's start in entertainment again. Let's go. And let me pull up power levels and temperatures for the GPU. Damn it, I messed up my hardware info mod. There we go. That's temperature, that's power levels. Just give me 1 second. There you go. That totally makes sense, Tom. And for a lot of things, you do not need a CPU running at it in its maximum performance mode because usually I feel like you don't need all that multi-core performance. Like it's just this mixed load, and I think you did great with setting up the performance mode, not just for gaming, but also when you do video editing, especially in Resolve. You need a lot more of your GPU than your CPU. Then if you would have a CPU that will always boost to its max and takes up everything power-wise that it can get, and the fans would ramp up whenever it's asked to do something, then it would you would have these pulsing fans that would be very annoying. But this way you just have this soft whoosh all the time. That's very nice. I can totally deal with that. Okay, hit me, Tom. I'm ready. And for everybody else, so we're in entertainment mode with the 4070 running at 115 watts at 84 degrees. Okay. Having done the Legion Slim 7 review only a few days ago, I think I know what he means, but I wouldn't say that your design is poor. I would just say it's different. So the Legion Slim has a more direct feel to it, so it's a little bit more tactile and it's a little bit stiffer when you bottom out, which probably comes from the metal chassis. But I could, like, I don't know how quick or how much of a typer he is. I guess if he's typing, I don't know, a book every day, but I can type on this quite fine. Ah, I see. Yeah. People do not take this into consideration. And again, I feel like when you're not a reviewer, which we are, I don't think it's that hard to get used to a new keyboard, but you guys correct me if I'm wrong here. But I feel like if you're just using one single machine with one keyboard, if you have it for a couple of days, can't you get used to it like super quickly? But Ray isn't undervolting locked on almost everything this year because of some security vulnerabilities. But I think Tom can comment on that when it comes to undervolting, because XMG just published something about it a few weeks ago. Okay. Okay. I don't even know how to comment that, because he just said that it's not good, but he didn't iterate why that is. Did he do it in the comment? Right, let's take it from entertainment mode to performance. And you guys can hear the difference in fan noise. I'm gonna be quiet for a little bit. So yeah, there you go. So it goes up from 115 to 130-ish watts, which may sound good on paper, but will not give you a lot of additional performance. So I guess bottom line is just stick to the excellent quiet mode. And again, I will have it a side-by-side comparison between the Legion Slim 7 and this one in the video. And I think in balanced mode, the Legion Slim 7 runs its GPU only at 80 watts. And going from 80 watts to 115 watts will give you quite a performance difference. So the Legion Slim might be smaller and a little bit lighter, but when it comes to performance and noise, the XMG is where it's at. I mean, these are all very subjective things, and I feel like sometimes in comments people are not able to balance out their objective opinion and then what other people might think about. So they feel like if I don't like it, it's just not good. And then I feel like you could voice this differently. You could just say, it's not for me. I would not consider having the angled connector is practical, and that would be fine. But the way he voices his opinions is always, I feel like, quite problematic. Tom, don't you have like a full forum thread about this? Because you guys went into this topic quite in depth. You could maybe share it. But I don't know if I might have to promote you to a moderator for the last few minutes to post links. Which I can do, I think, pretty quickly. Yes. So, Tom, I just promoted you to moderator. If you want to share that link, feel free to do so. And let's see what else I can show you guys. Maybe let's do just the obligatory time spy run. Or let's do Pod Royal, because I've set it up to not use full screen so it doesn't mess up the stream. Let's do Pod Royal. It definitely is, and I wish people would take that into consideration a lot more when they comment, and it doesn't matter if it's on YouTube or if it's on if it's on the website. And I wish everybody would just be a little bit nicer when they comment, because it's totally okay if you don't like anything or don't like something. I mean, what I ran into earlier today. Maybe, Tom, that's something for you when it comes to the right angle connector, because your power connector is in the back. I would actually have to agree that it would make more sense to have it not angled, because sometimes you just block the ports next to it. But since you can like turn it, it's also not a big deal. So it wouldn't influence my buying decision. And it definitely does not make it a bad machine just because of that. I mean, it would never be something that would affect my buying decision. So is underwelding only possible in HX CPUs, not in H CPUs? And while we are talking about HX CPUs, maybe something interesting for a lot of the guys and girls in the chat, is there anything planned with AMD's HX CPUs at the XMG side? That's interesting. With the right angle connectors, I did not know that. GMAC, I do not know. With Lenovo, it's sometimes pretty hard to find out which configurations they sell where. So if it's not listed with your local retailers, I'm afraid I can't help you with that. I think we in Germany get the 4070 version, but there was also some problem with CPU performance on that one. So maybe that's why, I don't know. I can't really comment on that. Right, guys, that's Port Royal for you. And while we are at it, oh, hold on, let me just turn down the volume a little bit. We don't need that. And while we are at it, again, this stream is sponsored by Notebooks Billiger and nvidia. And I promise it's the last time I will tell you guys this for tonight. But we need to pay our bills, and keeping up production at this level always requires some funding. So please, guys, show your support. Check out the links in the description below. One is for NVIDIA Studio Program, and it will link to their website where it can tell you a little bit more about how NVIDIA Studio Program can help you in a very, very realistic and usable way to speed up your content creation. Your content creation applications. There are so many different applications that are supported by NVIDIA's hardware encoders, specialized cores like their tensor cores or ray tracing cores and all of that. Doesn't matter if you're into video editing, photo editing, or CGI. And then there's the link to Notebooks Billiger's selection of RTX Studio notebooks, and of course also to the XMG Pro 16 Studio, which is XMG's first studio notebook. There you have it. $45, okay. That's quite something. I've not seen this yet. What's very interesting with the failure rate. I wouldn't have imagined. Tom, I've actually not tried it. I actually wanted to try it, but the streaming PC I'm using right now is using my old 2080 Ti, so I can't do AV1. But I will definitely look into it once I get the chance to upgrade it. I did some, I think 1 or 2 of our streams a few months ago have been with AV1, if I recall correctly. Because then I was using a laptop for streaming. But even this setup works perfectly fine. But I also get the whole reasoning behind it. What phone are you using to be able to use a 3.5mm jack? And guys, we're also nearing the end of our stream. So we have a couple of minutes. We're gonna finish this benchmark run. But if you have any burning questions you want to get off your chest in regards to the XMG or in regards to the channel in general, or anything else you want to tell us, or anything else you want to ask, or if you have any questions left for XMG, who did a fantastic job in the chat today. Yeah, just get them off your chest now before it's too late. But this video will also be available as a video on demand sometime tomorrow, so you can always come back there. So yeah, if you have any more questions, now's the time. Okay, I will not tell you what I'm using most of the time. Yeah, I mean, if you put it like that, it makes total sense. And once you start thinking about it, like the whole straight or right angle connector, it makes total sense, but I've never thought about it. So... Divina, that might actually be true, if you think about it. That's very true. Especially 3.5mm jack on a laptop, that would be quite annoying. But then again, I'm using my headset. I'm using has an 3.5mm jack and an XLR port, so it's quite exotic as well. So yeah, there you go. I had to do a custom run, so again, the scores we are getting are not representative of what you would usually get, because I have to run it in windowed mode, because otherwise it will mess up my capture card. Now you're putting me on the line, Tom, here. I actually feel like for what I'm doing, I was not able to observe like a very big difference. So the studio drivers are apparently much more rigorously tested when it comes to compatibility. So if there's any weird stuff going on, you should, of course, maybe consider the the studio drivers, but also vice versa. If you get a studio laptop and think, well, I want more gaming performance, then the difference will not be, they will be marginal. It's just that if there's a new game coming out, the game-ready drivers are updated much more frequently. So that's that. But then again, the studio program from NVIDIA is not just the drivers. It's like the whole thing. So it tells you something about the notebook. For example, when we talk about the XMG Pro 16 Studio, which is quite a mouthful, by the way. If you guys could come up with a better name for it, I would be very much appreciated. So what you get is when it's a studio laptop, it tells you that the display has a certain quality, which will help you get some work done when you work in visual professions. Then that it's not above a certain thickness and also a certain weight. And it has like a certain threshold for performance. So you get high performance CPUs, of course, high performance GPUs, of course, naturally. A pretty solid display and above average build quality. So that's that. I've actually not did any testing yet with QuickSync or NVENC for live streaming, but also we just got into live streaming. So I wouldn't be the right person to ask this because I'm not a professional when it comes to live streaming. So I don't know what would be the general takeaway, but it might be something I should look into to test that out. All right, guys. I think it's about time to wrap this up for today. As always, thanks for taking the time to join us in this stream. We will have the full video about the XMG Pro 16 Studio up on our channel in, I hope soon. I will not make any promises. I've got a lot of stuff on my plate. But it will be coming, and you get all the performance details and of course all of our detail testing in there. Thanks a ton for Tom from XMG for taking the time to be in the chat for today's stream and answer all your questions. And of course, thanks to all of you again. Again, we have, like, when it comes to streams, I hope to get it off the ground so we can have more people in here. Because I really like interacting with you guys and be able to have a more direct connection to you guys, so I can get a better sense of what you would like to see on the channel. And yeah, maybe just hang out with you guys and talk about tech all the time, which I am very passionate about and you seem to be as well. So that's quite enjoyable. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like the stream, share it with your friends, share the channel, subscribe to the channel. That's always appreciated. And yeah, Tom, I just told him about the links in the video description. So yes, we have everything in the description, and the video will be online sometime tomorrow evening, I guess, as a video on demand. So again, thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I see you all in the next video or on the next stream, in the next shorts, or on Instagram or whatever. Thank you guys so much. Take care, have a good evening, and see you soon.